What is up, everybody? It is Thursday, so you know what that means. Welcome to another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I am your humble and gracious host, Davin Jackson. I know you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. It's been a crazy week, full of misinformation and nonsense, but hopefully everybody's in a good space. We can unwind. Tomorrow is the week, Friday, the weekend for some of us. So let's just talk about the good things. um I'm really excited about the guest I have tonight. He's an incident response manager. He's also a content creator, a mentor. He is a business owner and the host of the Textual Chatter podcast. So I'm just going to get right into it, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in the chat. Please welcome my guest, Henri Davis, a.k.a. Textual Chatter. Here we go. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
All right. Just going to do the little applause thing here. So let me just move this. All right, cool. So again, thank you for joining the show. Like I said, it's been a crazy week, but like I said, I'm glad that
What I
you.
miss?
Oh man, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. Just it's been a lot. That's all I can say. All I think is the without getting into too many details. Go check out Caleb Studio Sex YouTube video he put up about it needing to stop. It's been about a thing that we've been talking about with the misinformation, but it's on a larger scale to the point where a sitting United States senator, I think Joe Rogan and a few other people actually retweeted some nonsense that somebody put out there. I don't want to give it too much energy, but yeah, so
Wow.
we ain't here for that. So just give them a brief introduction of who you are for the people who don't know.
All right. How's everybody doing? My name is Henri Davis. Like you mentioned, I am a content creator. YouTube at Textual Chatter, Twitter Textual Chatter, and I also run a business called Textual Consulting. And the mission of that business is to pretty much help you whether you're entry level, mid level, coming from a different career to get into cybersecurity. A little bit about my professional background. I'm going on. I believe I have 10 years of experience now. With my last 5 years being in cybersecurity, the last 3 years I was pretty much a lead threat analyst at a SOC for a big player in the cybersecurity game with a huge client. And now I have moved over to fintech, working incident response.
Okay. So hold on, let me move that back. All right, so I'm trying to figure out how I want to move this move this on. So okay, so you started so you're doing incident response for a fintech company. And you said that you started off your career, half your career doing, you said, like a SOC analyst.
Well, I mean, on my fault. I began my career, like my actual professional career. I technically don't really count the stuff I did in college, even though I was getting paid to do like IT support type of assistant type of stuff for the College of Business. But I officially started my first like big boy job uh, as a service desk analyst for the TSA help desk.
Okay. Okay, so talk about that. Talk about your humble beginnings and how you got started and got to where you are now.
Yeah, I still remember it like it's yesterday. I don't know if I applied on Indeed or whatever, but I was working at and I think you used to work at Target as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I remember one day I'd already graduated in 2013. It was the beginning of 2014. I was working. I was fixing something stuff up in seasonal, and a recruiter called me about a position, saying I need to get a clearance and what it paid. At the time, I was only getting like $7.75. She's like, you can get like 17 an hour. So I was like, I saw dollar signs back then, just because I was tired of retail. You don't really get hours, and you're not really making any money. And they prepped me for the interview, passed the interview, and I got the job. It took a while to start because those of you know that if you have to do that clearance process, it can take a while, depending on age and how much stuff you got on your credit and your background and all that stuff.
Oh
Now,
yeah. And what was the clearance that you were getting?
I got a secret. I got a what's it, DHS? I think I have like two secrets. I know one's at DHS. I had the interim for a while until my secret finally went all the way through, but I couldn't step foot on premises until I had the interim.
Yeah, yeah, no, and those security clearances are they get in depth. Like I had to get a top secret in the military, and I think I was talking about it before, and they get into your life, like they know things that you forgot. But I don't want to keep going. So go ahead and continue. So you got your secret clearance, and then you started you moved up that way.
Yeah, got my secret clearance. Did that. Well, here's the kicker, y'all. They didn't tell us on the phone that it was help desk. So we were like third training class. I was there. The manager springs on us. Yeah, you're gonna be doing help desk. You're gonna be talking on the phone, and all of us have like the Mr. Krabs kind of meme where your eyes and stuff and it gets blurry and everything's just spinning when they told us it was help desk. And I was like, man, what? I don't know if I want to do this. I want to talk to people on the phone, this and that. Granted, I was easy at talking to people, but I kind of was like a little nervous and, not knowing what to expect, but went through training, did that. And within like 6 months, I had kind of like mastered it. I will say that, that experience taught me a lot, basic troubleshooting, people skills, empathy, documentation, really, really big on documentation. That's why whenever I would do a ticket or it had to be an incident, it was always documented like perfectly because of the things I knew I needed to include in the ticket for my help desk days. Uh, Email communications, processes and procedures, just everything I'm able to see at a high level that I brought with me to every single role I learned at help desk.
Okay, so and I'm glad you brought that up because that's another debate that's been going on. But before we do that, let me do this to my chat because I see y'all moving and y'all moving and shaking in there. So let me just do my love from the pack again, everybody. I appreciate y'all joining the show. If you guys are just tuning in, this is InfoSec Unplugged. It's me, Davin Jackson, D Jackson. I'm with Henri Davis, also known as Textual Chatter, and we're talking right now about how he got started. Again, you guys know the rules. You can ask anything, but just keep it clean, keep it respectful. No negative energy, and we just gonna keep it pushing. So now you mentioned about the help desk. Let me just make sure I'm looking through the chat real quick. So we have Cyber Warrior Studios who says what's good, who's ready for the party, what's going on, sir. We have Jeremy says let's go. Let's see. There's Professor Black Ops in here says what's up, everyone. And he says power duo, let's get it. Absolutely appreciate the love, sir. We have Abdul Malik says good night, everyone. L says hey L. DCI says need to legalize cannabis so I can get a secret and top secret. Man, look, listen, I'm sure a lot of people will agree with you. Tish talks tech says hey, what's going on, Tish? And
Hey,
then J
Tish.
Mill says hello all. All right, so you touched on this a second ago. Help desk. And we've had conversations about this. I think we've talked about this numerous times on Twitter. There seems to be this misconception that help desk is somehow beneath some people when they want to get into tech. And my argument is that help desk is actually probably the cheat code to get your foot in the door a lot faster than trying to build up your certs and stuff, because they're always hiring for help desk. And you touched on it. Help desk also teaches a lot of soft skills and things of that nature. So just talk about how important that your experience in the help desk and the lessons you learned in from the help desk, you know, built you up to where you are now.
Definitely. Man, a lot of things. I learned a lot stuff about corporate America. I learned a lot of things like I dealt with stuff. I've talked about this example before, like handling new stuff that they put on you, similar to like what I do in a SOC environment where they throw a new correlation search at us and a rule that's never fired before. You haven't accept this is harder because with some of the stuff at help desk that I dealt with real life. Like we used to support the federal air marshals and they threw that contract on us. And for you guys that aren't aware of that, those are the guys that are sitting in plain clothes on the planes, making sure nothing happens. And so they need to have like internet and communications on at that time. I believe they had the Blackberries
Mm-hmm.
and or they had the iPhones. But the thing is, if they don't have proper communications for their phones, then they can't do their job perfectly, which is, important. And so dealing with them, trying to troubleshoot stuff we've never seen before, gives you a level of patience and a level of understanding of how to work through the things that happen in other jobs. Some of the patience that some people don't have, that they give up very easily, you can learn in the help desk. I mean, all type of simple stuff I learned. That, I mean, still on like stuff with Outlook. Most of the things we used to do, I just go to day to day password resets, mapping network drives. You had different Outlook issues. Apparently, occasionally it'll be something, maybe a printer related. Maybe they couldn't pull up the printer, and then you have to send it to different groups, different things with Exchange. It was a lot. It was a lot, but it also taught me how, like, everybody's role is important, no matter what you are. Just like some of the things you deal with, if you transfer to a SOC, some people may think you're not as important because you're a SOC analyst, just because they have engineer behind their name or whatever behind their name. They think they're more important than you, not
Right.
realizing everybody is important. Like, you can't do one without the other. They all serve, for the greater good of the company.
And I think that hold on, actually I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that in here. Yeah, but that's a bar. Too many people get caught up in their titles, and I think that's part of the problem now. Is I think people look at help desk because of this whole race to getting six figures, or chasing the bag. They look at it like it's a waste of time. But
Right.
like I said, help desk was super helpful for me. Like I said, for one, there's so many help desk jobs out there. If you're just trying to get your foot in the door, that's a resume buffer right there. And when I had Marcus Bowie on a couple weeks ago, he actually got his big break from doing help desk. He was he was doing help desk, and somebody needed help, and come to find out, it was like a big wig for where he was working, and they threw him in a sock like pretty much like I think he said like within 2 weeks or so. And let's see, we have a comment. So Compendium 66 says working help desk teaches you to be flexible. No, it most certainly does. It most certainly does teach you to be flexible. It teaches you how to troubleshoot on the fly. Because a lot of the time with help desk, there's time stuff attached to it. You might have to do it in a certain queue, or try to hurry, keep the queue low. So yeah, sometimes I mean, help desk really teaches that outside the box thinking, the quick troubleshooting, to be quick on your feet. So it's super important to learn those skills. And like I said, that's something that you can transfer when you upgrade your career or move your career on up. So Tish Talks Tech says a lot of people push titles and equate it to money, and not the actual learning resume benefit aspect of it. No, that's the truth. And I mean, that's why
Very
people are
true.
jumping to get senior level certs, and they don't have the experience to actually back up those certs. So yeah, that's a problem. So all right, so in your career, what challenges have you faced, or you still face to this day?
Uh, that's a good question, actually. I think my challenges are more so now, like even now, like perfect. It's a perfect question for me now, based on what I got going now, is getting into a new environment and learning how that environment works, and that's a big thing that I stress for new people. Whatever job they get into is like understanding the environment, the business process of how the company makes money, because that's going to help you with your job. Uh, like even now, trying to figure out how this company's infrastructure is set up, how they like to do this, what's the reason behind that. Some of like my biggest challenges, I don't really have any challenge as far as thinking like if I may be able to learn something, because I mean at this point I'm still a sponge. I'm still learning new things every day, so I'm not worried about that. So I think my biggest challenges right now is just appreciating myself. Well, not really, because I think so far from the feedback I've been getting, I've been doing good, and I've been pretty much going the extra mile as well to show that I fit in the culture. I'm a team player. All this type of stuff you like to put on your resume that you need
Yeah.
to show in an interview is what I'm doing now. Going the extra mile, volunteering for. Well, I was put on a project to help with something, but also just working with one of the main drivers of that project, and hey, saying, hey, what can I do today on this project? And I'm also writing out everything that I do for
Yeah.
when the review time comes, and anything else, resume booster. I can say I did all these things right here. And this is the value that I brought to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You touched on a couple things there that are important. I'm actually just gonna do that again. So, one, the being a sponge, like it's important, especially when you're in that new environment. It's important to kind of just keep your eyes and your ears open, pay attention to what's going on, see what you know, who's strong at what, where they're where they may be lacking, because not that could be an opportunity.
Definitely, I see
Figure
a lot
out
of them.
yeah figure out what people are doing, how they work, how their system, and then figure out how to put yourself in there in that scenario, how you can jump in to make it go smoother, or what challenges might that you might face. Um and I think the other thing you said that was important, geez, I'm drawing a blank now, but the other thing that you said was about you know the feedback. You A lot of people are scared of the feedback because they're scared they might hear something negative. But I guess my follow up question is tell them about tell the people you know the cheat code basically with that feedback. Because for me, I look at it like, if I'm always asking for constant feedback, like once a month at least. I'm talking to my supervisor or my director, and I'm going, all right, so how am I doing? What do you think? What's going on? But it's also getting not only just on you, maybe on the whole team, maybe on security as a whole, because when you speak to these higher ups, you're picking their brain. And again, to me, those are all opportunities. Every time they say something like, oh man, we got to figure out how to configure a WAF. Okay, boom. I'm gonna go look up a WAF. What WAF are they using? All right, great. Whatever. Oh, we're having problems with this. Okay, we figure this try to figure out a thing to resolve the issue. And like you said, making a note of all your wins. For one, I think that helps with the imposter syndrome, because we all go through it. So if you make
Right.
note of all your wins, you'll see how important you are. And like you said too, now it's almost like another resume for when that review time comes and they say, okay, well, why do you think you deserve this increase? Because they're stingy with raises. But talk about the importance of getting that feedback and maximizing off of it, even if it's not what you want to hear, or even negative.
Right. And also to be 100% transparent, because I think, people see us on these platforms and, we're veterans in the game and
Right.
they think, we got it all together. To be 100% transparent, I had some imposter syndrome starting this position because it's just different, more different than like anything I've done in my career so far. Like, if you to throw me in the sock and say, okay, boom, you're gonna be working out a Splunk, and then we're gonna use Palo Alto Cortex or Phantom for our automation tools, or we're gonna use like something like Swim Lane or something. Cool, I know how to do that in and out. That was my bread and butter. But going into something different now that actually relies on me more so using my soft skills and actually solving a little bit more problems, probably problems per se, as far as like figuring things out on my own when there's not. I'm not okay. Here's one of the things that I probably failed to mention the last time. This place isn't as structured as places I've been before, which is fine because I dealt with that when I was on that client for 3 years, that big client, which helped me grow as an individual and how to navigate these situations. So I'm used to that. But even so, it's still a learning curve that you got to go to and figure out who you need to talk to, how you got to get this information. As for the
It's a
feedback,
culture change.
definitely, definitely. But everyone's nice. As the feedback thing goes, we have one-on-ones all the time with our manager, which is cool. If your manager doesn't, if y'all don't typically have one-on-one, see if they can carve some time out for you so you can try to request that feedback. Just say, hey, I want to see how I was doing. Because one of the
Yeah.
things I ask in my interviews is like, hey, how will I be judged? How will my success be measured in this role? My first 90 days or whatever type of
Hmm.
numbers they want to use. That's one of the things I ask anyways. But in this case, he's just been forthcoming with sharing everything with me. And then even it's funny, I was shooting a podcast episode Tuesday, but I was late to it because I did a late meeting because we're working on this project. He was like, hey, can you jump on the Zoom real quick? Can we do that? And then, towards the end, he's like, yeah, I'm just so happy, to have you here with your experience using this tool. And you're excited and you know how to use it and you're doing this and that. So that's already feedback in his mind is positive about me.
Mhm.
Now, if it was negative, like I shared something on what was that? LinkedIn a couple of weeks back about getting feedback. It's not directly related to my role now, but it was like feedback and interviews. And my feedback wasn't always positive. One of the things I struggled with one time was being consistent in my problem solving. I didn't get mad at that because I kind of already know I'm scatterbrained. It's hard for me to be consistent sometimes
Yeah.
discussing something unless I wrote it out. But dealing with that instead of, getting upset about it, find a way to make it, positive. If you're struggling with a certain task at work and you're not getting it, see if you can reach out to the person who's been doing it X amount of years, especially if you're at a new place and see, say, hey, I read the documentation, this and that, but I'm still kind of stuck on, so and so or whatever. And see and go from there and see what they say. In my experience, people have been willing to always help if you did your own due diligence first. So if you said you did the documentation, you did this and that, they're willing to say, okay, cool. Let me jump on a Zoom quick. Let me show you. Opposed to if every time you need help, you just ask them without doing your own help, they're going to eventually start replying to you.
Yep. No, that's a fact right there. Um, and I think the other thing is, like you said, you took some feedback that was negative, but you already knew it. It's important to self assess, and it's important to figure out where you're weak. For me, I tell everybody the cheat code is if you can figure out where you're weak by the time they notice it, you've already worked on improving it.
Right.
I had situations in previous jobs where my boss would come to me and say, "Man, I was gonna say to you that you might want to look into working on XYZ," but he was like, but it was almost like the moment I made a note to say, okay, monitor Davin for the next couple weeks. You already turned it around, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm harder on myself than anything else. I'm
Right.
harder on myself than I let anybody who is a supervisor or a manager or a director um, be. So I know if I'm lacking. I know if my work hasn't been up to par. I know, like you said, scatterbrained, especially now with working from home and COVID and all this other
Oh
stuff.
man,
It's easy to get distracted. Not to mention, one of the after effects of COVID is allegedly that
memory loss.
your memory loss, your brain fog, and all that. And like I said, I've had it. I'm pretty sure I had it once, and like I said, whatever I just went through recently, I feel like it was again, even though the test came back negative, but I'm like that brain fog is real. I actually had a meeting with my supervisors earlier this week, and I said, "Listen, I'm starting to feel like myself again, so I want to apologize for the last 3 weeks because I know I was off." And they're like, "Man, don't worry about it." But I'm like, "No, that wasn't acceptable of me." So here I am, calling it out. I'm calling myself to the
Right.
table. And also this way, if you call yourself to the carpet and you drag yourself, they can't they can't come back when you call somebody else out. So
Yeah. That's kind of something I
definitely
do when
go ahead.
I know I was gonna say something funny. It's like one of the things I do when it comes to like roasting or joking. I kind of know what
Hmm.
kind of joke you may say, so I'm gonna copy what you say because people hate when you mimic them. I'm gonna beat you to the punch, so it takes away the sting.
Yep. It's like 8 Mile when he
Yeah,
when he made fun of himself and his friends, and this way the dude had nothing to say at the end.
I do live with my
So
mom.
yep. So okay, so now so like I said, you went through the ranks, you got all the feedback, you busted your behind. Congratulations for that. And now you've worked your way up to incident response manager. So just tell the people what without breaking NDAs or anything like that, what that job entails.
To be honest, I'm still trying to figure out everything that it entails because so I was brought on. One of the things I'm doing right now is working on a major project. We're implementing software from their proprietary one that they built that'll be used for handling incidents and everything else. And they brought me on there for that because I had experience with it for the last 4 or 5 years. Uh, but honestly, I find out it's a lot, especially when it comes to like finance, like fintech.
Yeah.
You got to worry about different things that you don't necessarily worry about when it comes to a regular job. So I know a lot of the scope is they're covering like different threats, instant response. Then you got insider threat things. I'm
Hmm.
trying to list them all. It's like so many. I get so like no lie, I get so many emails at night where all different things come in these all these different mailboxes of things that's happening where they're reporting these incidents, and man, you're
And
just seeing some of the different things uh, that are happening. And you also have to, like I said, that's why understanding who you work for makes sense and how they make money, because that shows you kind of the approach of what they care about the most, of why they move this
yeah,
way, or why you can't do this, or why you can't do that, why you can't say this, or why you can't say that. So,
yep,
and
and
the
you,
one part of the incident response is the typical things, we incidents, we got stuff coming in and going into our SIMs and pushing out, and we work those. But then there's a whole other side of different alerts you got to work with. And now eventually I'll possibly be working with like uh, legal legal things where you actually got to talk to lawyers or um,
don't
policemen or
forget,
something like that.
though, especially you working in fintech, don't forget those three letters, PCI.
Oh yeah,
Did anything break PCI? Was any PII?
right,
Was any sensitive data leaked? Like
right.
that's
And
that.
they're very strict on even letting you use, putting certain stuff on your phone. So
Yep,
it's
absolutely.
it's definitely a different experience, but it's overall I think it's pretty cool. It helps you be well rounded. I have some ideas, and we'll go from there. And by the end of the year, we'll see how many of them I've got implemented.
Okay. So, did you when figuring out your career path or your career trajectory, did you know you wanted to end up in incident response or blue team or anything like that?
Oh, really? I know. So I always talk about. I didn't know. I've been talking about lately about how like college kind of was like not a waste of time, but it didn't really direct me to a path until I took a forensics class and then took security plus, where let me say, okay, boom, I do want to go this blue team route. So I finally did land my SOC analyst role. And then after being in a SOC so long, and I got to do different things in the SOC, I was okay, cool. I know my weak spot. I want to be on the other side of it so I could be well rounded, and I'll kind of just tell you my career trajectory right now, anyways. Uh, so I could be well rounded, and eventually I go be a director for threat ops or for a SOC or whatever company, how they like to do these things. So I've said I did all these things. I know how this should play out. I have a good grasp of it from a high level, and so you can trust me. So about going into the third year, I kind of hit that plateau at my last
Yep.
position, and was like, I did all these things or whatever, and our client kind of was they were actually warming up and letting us start to do more things with their IR team as well. But it was taking too long. I possibly could have gotten a different client, but I just wanted to experience a different environment. And I realized with 2020, since 2020, incident response jobs have gone up just because of more people at home, more threats have emerged. So I was like,
Oh
that
yeah.
is, that's the way to kind of move into where, because I was, by that time I was kind of already off glass. I wasn't really on glass anymore, just doing alerts all day. I was doing other things, like kind of like leadership things. And so I said, you know what? Yeah, let's go to IR route. So IR was definitely some in my plans, along with getting better at doing correlation rules and technically, I guess you could say sim engineering, but I like doing that, like mapping out like the threats and the detections. I think my ability of being a former SOC analyst lets me actually approach rules from a different perspective, not just because somebody said, "Hey, put this rule in place," but actually working through the rule and seeing if it would be actionable for our analysts, because that's what some companies tend to forget. They just throw rules in there, but they're garbage.
Right. Couple things I want to follow up on there. First, you said about your career path about eventually being like a threat ops manager, and this way you want to touch every bit of it, so this way you can say that you have experience in it. That's smart. That's real smart. But it also brings in the next thing, which was my follow up question. um how important it is, or how do you know when your time is past, right? Like you talked about, you reached your plateau. Because one of the things that we talked about, going back to the help desk thing, is people are saying, I went to help desk and I got lost in help desk, or I got stuck in help desk. And it's like, or people who like I've talked to ask, you know, when is it time? When is the right time to move on from help desk? And I think this is a similar question. For you personally, when do you know that, all right, you know what, it's time to make that it's time to make that jump?
When it becomes, I'll say when it becomes mundane. Like I had got promotions pretty much from 2018 all the way to 2021. So I was doing different things, but then it got to the point where it was like the same thing. I kind of had just mastered what I was doing. Um, and what it's funny because they started bringing in new tools as I was leaving, which made me get excited again. That was the thing. It was kind of like
Yeah.
that stuff happened. Like we started doing more with CrowdStrike. We brought in the Palo Alto SOAR tool because we moved away from Phantom, which I actually like, and it's cheaper. If anybody's looking for a SOAR solution, check out Cortex. Uh, 'Cause that was some of the things. Some of the things also was the, I think, I don't know if me and you talked about this before when we shot my episode, was my team. Some of the people on my team, I think they were good people, but they weren't a right fit. So it's kind of irritating if I'm telling my manager every day saying, "Hey, um, these guys need to be on a different client. They've been here like 3 years, just like me, and they aren't trying." You
Yep.
know, some of those people caused us to go through a major incident just because of negligence. And I had already had the foresight to see it, ring the bells long before it happened. It was like, hey, this, they don't care if something's gonna happen. And I also told the engineers, say they're not handling this rule correctly. And that's how we also see these big breaches happen, just because somebody said something and then they say, "Oh, we got risk acceptance," so they accepted that risk and then they dealt with it.
Yep.
But that was really some of the things. I think that was amazing. Like the team thing started like really aggravating me because I came up with the one of the also actual things I came up with that's on my resume is like I came up with a QA process with the analyst, and this is something I learned from help desk, but we tweaked it. And help desk, your QA thing was more so based on how many calls you did you meet SLA with closing out the tickets, did you get a first call resolution. Ours aren't necessarily based on numbers per se. I mean, we have some number values to them, but it's more so as, hey, when I review the rule that initially fired, did you handle it correctly? Did you come to the right conclusion when you escalated? What was the ticket? Did you provide enough information for the team you're escalating it to, or could this been mitigated? Like, so all those things. So what I already knew, and then from reviewing that, was let me know, okay, these jokers ain't trying,
Right.
and I'm getting, tired of saying this, to my manager, which she was great. She was a great manager. I just think that sometimes, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but I think, and it may depend on like the certain age of the men. I know, like I was one of the, I guess in the middle of the pack. I wasn't the youngest, so some people younger than me, but
Hmm.
they tend to take that kindness kind of like for weakness, so not really taking
Yep.
her as serious as much as where as men we kind of got like a low tolerance for you messing up to where we're like, all right, man, you out of here.
Yep.
You playing with people's livelihood. I don't have time to be on LinkedIn saying open to work.
Hmm. Nah, complacency definitely kills. Once people start getting complacent or they think they figured it all out, that's when it's starting to be. That's when it starts to become a problem. Real quick. So Abdul Malik says, "Mr. Davis, thank you for being transparent." We have a couple people here saying good evening. R. Reed, Ty Wilson, friend of the show. Go check out his channel too.
Yeah,
Um, he's got a lot of stuff going on right now. Mary says, "Hello everyone." Kalila Scott also says, "Hey everyone." So again, everybody, thank you for joining. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, follow me, follow Henri over here, Textual Chatter, and go check out his YouTube channel, which we're actually going to talk about in a second. But yeah, for me, when people talk to me about when is it time to move on, I say the same thing. When things start to get complacent. When, for me, like help desk, I saw someone put in, who said it in here, infinite improbability says it's time to move on when you become the go-to at most jobs. If you're good at your job, you get assigned everyone else's job. That's true.
that's
And then
facts. We need gunshots for that.
yo, yeah, I don't have gunshots, but and compendium says when you stop having to learn new things is when you move. And then let's see. Ty says, I'd recommend looking at the next move when the work starts to become easy, which was my point right there. I'm
Right.
gonna double it up because for me, that's what I said with help desk. For me, when I can troubleshoot and not have to do eyes on glass, it's not fun for me anymore. And
Right.
it was to the point where, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this now, I would be out. I would be out with my wife. I'd be shopping. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm working from home, and they would call my phone, and people would call my phone and go, "Oh, this isn't working," and I would literally troubleshoot blow for blow exactly what they need to do. Oh, go over here on the right hand corner, right click this. What do you see? Or left click this, or hit the start button. Do
Yep.
this. Type in this. What do you see? And I remember one time I was out with my father in law, and he was like, "Man, you're gonna get in trouble." And I'm like, "No, I'm fine." And then I took a call, and he goes, "You remembered all of that in your head?" I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Dude, nah, you got to move. You're bored. You're bored, right?" and
Yeah. Definitely.
and yeah, that and yeah, could I have stayed and did that and just whatever, but like you said, I reached that plateau. It wasn't challenging, it wasn't fun, and like I said, like I said before, complacency kills. The moment it starts off like, oh, this is great because I can do this and get away with it, but then eventually you're going to get caught slipping, and
Right.
that's how mistakes happen. Like you said, people accept the risk. People don't move certain things, or they misjudge because of that complacency. Oh, this patch isn't a big deal. We're fine. What are the odds that someone's going to find an exploit that fast? Do they know that someone's been probably sitting on a 0 day, or someone's literally creating the malware or the exploit for it right then and there? And the same thing goes with training. The moment you feel like you don't need training anymore, you don't need to read or refresh or do any type of professional development, you're going to find yourself out of a job, and this field moves fast, so the field's going to move ahead of you, and
Yep.
you're going to be doubly screwed because now you're going to have to pay on your own, where maybe they could have reimbursed you or given you a discount because you work for a certain company. So now you got to come out your own pocket while being unemployed or while being underemployed. So you gotta play it smart. So LinkedIn user says great dialogue. Thank you, LinkedIn user. And then Kev Tech, another friend of the show, says is if it's the same thing over and over again and you don't learn anything, it's time to go, time to level up.
Right.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Kev
For
Tech.
me, yep. And DC says my life right now when they were responding to infinite improbability. But yeah, that for me, that's when I knew I wanted to move on and I needed a challenge. And like I tell people all the time, I moved into ethical hacking and pen testing at first, but I eventually wanted to move into incident response and digital forensics, mainly the digital forensics part. But where I was living at the time, back up north, you had to be
That's
with
a
law
big one.
enforcement. Yeah, you had to be with law enforcement, and I wasn't joining any law enforcement agency. Sorry, nah. So Compendium says, yeah, when you say I don't need training, is probably when you start saying no to any progress or new tech. No, absolutely. Like I've been saying, I say this all the time. Moore's law of technology is that anything, any tech that comes out becomes obsolete in 18 months. Right? So new phones, new computers, anything new, anything that comes out new today in 18 months will be deemed obsolete because we're moving so fast with advancing technology. So if tech itself is becoming obsolete in 18 months or less in some cases, then we should follow the same rules to keep up
Right.
with the tech, with the ever with tech the always advancing. So, so anyway, I don't want to keep ranting on too long. Again, chat, thank you for this dialogue, and I will continue to answer questions as we go along. As a matter of fact, let me do that now.
Yeah. Why
Oh,
you
I
do
see.
that?
Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say why you do that. That reminds me, like that's one of the reasons I used to hate my knock job. Is like it was boring. I used to wake up at 7 in the morning on Saturday and Sunday, work and go to the office for 12 hours to do nothing unless alarm sound when something went down. And so, like you said, you be out shopping. I was like, man, I used to work like 7 minutes from the Galleria in Dallas. I used to go there, and pager duty went off, and I just look at it, and then I'll
Yep.
probably eventually drive back. But for most part, I was like, I wasn't doing nothing. I'd be a lot of times I'd be up there asleep, having company when I wasn't supposed to. But I was like, man, what you want me to do? Like I could do all this from home, but you got me up
Right.
here in a hot room that the air doesn't work good on the weekends because it was
Yeah.
glass. So it's kind of like you was in the oven. Like it was a mess. And also one of the things I probably should have touched on with the help desk roles, like because it was also a government role, that made it
Mhm.
even easier because it's very controlled environment. People can't just
Oh yeah.
download stuff or anything. They got to submit tickets for any software
Everything.
to install. So it was, you know, easy to learn everything. And then if you guys watch, I did a video, which I probably need to redo it on like workplace politics about like how that company kept me back purposely because I could have did the sock for the company I was working for,
Hmm.
and they didn't choose me, and I was wondering why. Because I had more credentials than my guy that sat down a couple of seats from me. I was happy for him, but I was like, I had all my credentials and the experience, and they seemed to like me.
Yeah.
And found out that the managers there kept me there because I was a good worker. But
Oh
they
yeah.
didn't tell me about it. They didn't offer me, hey, well, you want to stay here and we'll give you some more money? None of that. Canceling my other interviews at other apartments. So I was like, it's time to go. If you're
Yeah.
gonna hold me
No.
back, but then not try to compensate me, you're taking money out of my pocket.
Yeah, so some jobs, it's almost like you get punished for doing good work, man. That's definitely. Hold on, Abdul Malik says straight up, guys. Nice discussion. I actually worked in telecom for some years, but I don't like being in the field chasing alarms, especially after getting injured on the job back a few years ago. Really would be nice if you both had have any good. I think. Hold on, there you. I it didn't finish. Hold on.
He said leads or
I'm gonna have to finish
something. I
reading
think
it.
that's the one.
Yeah, really, it'd be nice if you guys had any good leads, whatever, work in help desk or just anyone willing to take a chance with me. That would be worthwhile. Abdul, we're gonna get into that in a second. Um,
Yeah. And if you do
but
do
yeah, you
help
got
desk, I always tell everybody to go to Kev Tech's page. Like if you want trying to get in, like he got the best content on YouTube on how to successfully get you a support role.
yeah. No, it's crazy. And like you were saying, yeah, you have to find the right fit. You have to know when to move on. You have to know when you know when you're being held back. Like follow your gut instinct. Because that definitely happens a lot where they're like, man, we don't want to let you go, so we don't want to do this, but we can't really give you the raise because of budgets or because of whatever. Um, and it's almost like they try to guilt you for wanting to do better. Um, so definitely put yourself first and know your worth. But you touched on something like actually a couple times about changing different environments, learning different environments, but coming from a government type background where it's almost like strict military type, and then moving into the private sector for a regular company and stuff like that. What was that transition like for you? Because I almost equate that to people who come out of the military and then have to adjust to civilian life. So what was that experience like for you, that transition?
Very in, very interesting because you start seeing like how together one area was, and then you go there. It's like, what are they still doing stuff like this? Why isn't it like this? Like, why y'all like? Prime example, when I worked at the knock, they had two ticketing systems. I was like, why are y'all using? They were using Zendesk and they were using I forgot what else was it. They was using for ticket. Like, why not just use one solution? This is
Mm,
stupid. Documentation was out of date. Like when you go into a different environment, you never understand how the importance of up to date documentation until you have to be the new person. And so,
yeah.
like, you're reading stuff and you're clicking on links. This link don't work. Oh yeah, we actually switched to a new software. Like all these different stuff. That's why documentation should like be reviewed
That website don't
by
exist anymore.
right. That's why, and I think I kind of got spoiled because what I did learn when I was at the government sector job was like we had so many different assignment groups. We had a QA team, you had management, you had us, you had a email team, you had a Wintel team for the servers, security team. You had any team you could think of. They had their own group for. When you go somewhere else, it was like a company So I worked for a company. It was called Online Strategies, but they were owned by the bigger company named Income, who's behind uh, payment card stuff like gift cards. Really big with the gift
Mhm.
cards. Online Strategies. Their main moneymaker was they developed some type of software that works for the gift cards and payment cards that Income wanted, but they wouldn't sell it. But they said, "How about you let us buy you, and we let you operate independently?" So they operated independently from Income, which made stuff be hectic with how they did stuff. It felt like I was working at a startup, even though it wasn't a startup. Um,
Man, that startup life is
right.
it's
It's a
cool
young
at
man's
first.
game, I think.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm starting to think that too. So real quick, Kev Tex says, yes, know your worth and learning is always good. Infinite Improbability says, if your job complains about loyalty, ask yourself what's stopping them from firing me tomorrow. Even better yet, yeah, they can fire you
I've been
tomorrow.
through
They
it.
can, if you shoot, if you die tomorrow, they're gonna have your job posted by lunch, and then they'll tell the rest of the company, oh yeah, by the way, such and such passed away. Um, and then according to Forbes, average raise is 3%, but inflation rates are 2.1, getting about that 0.9. But people who change jobs every 2 years get somewhere from 10 to 20 and up to 50 in a lifetime. No, you're absolutely right. And here's where chasing the bag is okay. Once you've done the work, like Henri was saying, he built himself up. He worked in the help desk, worked in a knock, built his way up from analyst to incident response. Now he's incident response manager. He has all the experience to back him up. He has work experience, probably has certifications. He has a lot of experience to back him up. So now if he decides, yo, I'm gonna chase the bag, he's earned that right, right? And I know people are probably going to kill me like, oh, you're going to say that I don't deserve it. I'm not saying you don't deserve it. I'm saying get yourself to a point where you're no longer worried about chasing the bag, because honestly, the bag is going to chase you.
Find
I,
you.
I can put link I could put on LinkedIn right now that I am happily employed, and I'm still going to get 6 to 10 emails a day about job offers, and the numbers up there are starting to get astronomical, right? But I can now say I have reached a point in my career that if I lose my job, like Infinite Improbability said, what's stopping them from firing me tomorrow? I don't I don't care anymore, right? Because as long as I don't burn any bridges or I don't do anything that's detrimental to my career, I know if I leave my job tomorrow or I separate from my job tomorrow, I'm gonna be on someone else's security team in less than 2 weeks. Hell, I might even be able to take whatever severance, if they give a severance package or whatever, chill for a little bit, kick my feet up, take a mini vacation, and then come back. And I know I'm still gonna have a job somewhere. But I did that purposely. I built myself up, I built my resume up, I built my certifications and my skill set up. So now I no longer have to worry about it. See, people are trying to get from how do I get into the game to now I can command this salary without having to put in that foundation and that groundwork. That's the important part. Build yourself up so now you see it all the time. I'm not calling out any names, but I see people all the time who are like, yeah, I put it on LinkedIn or Twitter. I just accepted a new role. Then like 3 months later, they're like, I just accepted a new role, and it's like everybody's like, man, you jump from job to job. But those of us who have been in the game long enough, we know what it is. Somebody came with the right offer. Somebody, what they offer you, equity, what they, because once you get to a certain point, and that's the other thing that people don't talk about enough, especially people in our community. Everybody who worried about the dollar amount, when you get to a certain point, the dollar amount isn't worth it because they're going to tax you like crazy. But that equity
Right.
that they give is important. And see, in the game of, and in the startup game, you also want to make sure you get that equity. If you can get it up front, get it up front, because they'll try to stretch it out for like 3-4 years. But you also got to put it in there that if you get acquired, I get all my equity when that acquisition goes through. So I'm gonna do that for my damn self. But you know that but that comes with the experience. That comes with putting in the work, doing the work, and not skipping steps. So anyway, let me just go in here real quick. Where are we at? Where are we at? Yep, Ty said in RSUs. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the new game. That's the new game right there. Get yourself, especially if you're gonna play the startup game, get yourself some stock options, some RSUs, some equity. Work until your skills introduce you. No, absolutely. Absolutely, Ty. Absolutely. Um, you do like you hold on. He says, I will straight up work for anyone with money and new stuff for me to fix and break. No, it's listen, listen. Ty Wilson says, call him out, choose violence. Now I'm not calling nobody out, man. I'm chilling. It's just where is it? I just saw it. Yep, Dante. The best part about working in cybersecurity is those years of experience put you in demand. No, absolutely. I I do interviews every once in a while, not because I'm looking, but because I want to see what the market's doing. And I did one the other day, and the person kind of like freaked out when they saw me. Like I got on the Zoom call and they were like, "Holy crap, it is you!" Like he's like, "I saw your name. I saw your name come through," and I was like, "No way." So but that comes with doing the work. That comes with doing this show, giving talks, like my API talk. Yeah, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you did it for Sands or whatever." Yeah, I did it. I put it on that platform. They have a way larger platform and way more reach than me, and it got good feedback. So now people know, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I did a technical talk and it went well. KevTech says, soft skills are important. You need to know how to break it down in a non-technical way, especially C-level folks. No, absolutely. I tell people, when I write my reports, my pen test reports, I write it for three people. I write it for whoever asked for it. I write it for the C-level techs, and then I write it for my technical folks. So in the very beginning of the very beginning of the report is for the C-level. That's you hired us on these dates to do this pen test. This is what we found. Here's a quick breakdown. Here's your criticals, your highs, your mediums. This is what it's going to fix. Here's your rating. Did you comply? Are you meeting compliance? If it's a compliance test like a PCI or a HIPAA test or something, right? That's all they want to see. They want to see that first 1 or 2 pages. Their attention span don't go past 3 pages, maybe 5. Then I get into the weeds of the technical findings. Okay, this is what we did. This is the scans we used. This is what we did here. Okay, so now that satisfies 2 levels, because now that's that in the POC. And then if I find anything or we recommend fixes, that's for the technical folks. So now this is where you're getting into the heavy screenshots, proof of concept, showing impact and all of that. So now the technical folks can look at it and go, okay, cool. And what I do with my reports is I write my reports so detailed that I can give it to someone who's not technical and say, follow these steps, and you're gonna recreate the same conditions that I did. Because if I do that, it becomes indisputable. You can't say, oh, it's too hard, or there's no real impact. So you gotta write for your audience.
Right. And I like that
So
you said that. I want to point out when you said that about being detailed is what I used to tell my analysts is that you need to write your closing notes or even your triage in a way that when we get audited, a person who doesn't even know how to do this stuff can understand how you got to your conclusion, or if they had to trace back what you did. And sometimes they have 1 or 2 lines of closing notes. I was like, that's not good enough, especially for this type of alert.
yeah. Yeah, no, you got to be able to break it down, especially in your field too. You got to be able to break it down, because for one, you need to know what went wrong, you need to know how to fix it, and then most importantly, you need to know how to fix it so it doesn't come back again too. So now in doing all of that and taking your experience, you go ahead and you actually start your own company. So you started Textual Consulting. So why don't you talk about that? I'm gonna give you a moment to flex on that.
Sure thing. So I think I'm almost 2 years in starting that. Before starting it, I had always helped people on the side with stuff I learned about resumes or different skills or interview things. And so I decided to start it to, help people. One, uh, I realized too that when I was doing it for free, it was kind of like I was wasting my time because some
Mm.
people didn't necessarily take what I did seriously. But if they spend some money, whatever the dollar amount, most people tend to take it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, it
Uh,
becomes an investment.
right. And and two, it just also just helped me really develop a new set of skills to make my in a sense it was also part of the branding process that I've been doing the last 2 years as well because I started my company a little bit right after I started my YouTube channel. And because I always knew all of them was going to work hand in hand together with the stuff I talked about on there, my blogs, my videos, or what I do when when I'm talking to people, because I really don't have to sell people on my personality or who I am, because most of the time, sometimes they found me on YouTube and they went and watched a couple of videos and say,
Mhm.
"Oh, I like this guy," and they come in. But one of the things also was I also started to I want to help more people get in cybersecurity. Like initially, I got my master's in IT management because I was like, cool, I want to be a manager one day so I can hire people, especially people that look like us. But
Right.
I was like, I realized as I start moving up, it's still a little, it's a little iffy on doing it that way. But I was like, this way I'm able to directly impact and help people. I've helped people get jobs for my free content as well as paid. So it does help you feel good. Like I'm excited, like when my clients get an offer, I'm excited just like they offering me, because I've been there, especially with, I get a lot of people who probably did help desk a while. They come to me because they've heard me talk about it. Like I did help desk for 2 years, but I can't get out. And I think, I know one of the reasons why, just seeing so many different resumes, I have, even an extra added layer of perspective on even helping them start getting callbacks. Some people can't even get a callback. Just being able to help with that uh, feels good. So it's kind of really the biggest reason I started is like to help people get into cybersecurity as well from either a tech background or either if they're transitioning from something that they don't think they necessarily have, technical skills. I've helped them, and I've also helped people get non-tech roles as well, or not necessarily non-tech roles. Like I help somebody get like customer success manager roles.
Mhm.
I've helped somebody get a role being like apartment manager, just because like just from doing the resume stuff like that. So I've really just been able to help just in general because some people I like to take my approach too. It's like I'm here to help you believe in yourself. Some people have kind of been down on themselves because of how life's been going, and I know that's why I made the video that has like 100 jobs told me no. Where I have it documented like 100 jobs passed on me or whatever.
Yeah.
So I definitely know the feeling. I think I'm able to bring all the issues and stuff that I went through to them and can kind of reassure them, like, I understand if you just do these things right here, it's going to eventually work out for you.
That's dope. That's dope. And on top of that, like you touched on, you also have your YouTube channel and your podcast, um, where you're also giving out, like you said, giving out advice and stuff like that. And then in your podcast, you also talk to technical, folks in the field as well. So touch on that too, because it's like it's almost like they complement one another.
Yeah, definitely. I know I noticed we didn't have like a lot of content like ours on YouTube, and I
Hmm.
was like, you know what? I like to talk about this stuff, and I like making content. Let me take a stab at it. And it's also helped me, if the people probably can hear now, it's helped me so much in talking to people. It really has. When it comes to like the podcast, I think it's funny because I think the podcast this year alone is probably just going crazy right now with all the episodes I got coming up. Me and you got one that's dropping next week for y'all that didn't know, but it's helped me just like I'm putting it out for people to learn. I've been learning things. I've been interviewing people from various different backgrounds
Yeah.
that are like either technical or non-technical. And the biggest thing I did do it for also is for representation. And most of my guests start off as being women at first, and that was intentional.
Yep.
I have daughters, and we don't already have a lot of women in the field, but then you add in black women, you know, it's not a lot of them there. And I did it so they can say, you know, hey, you can do this. You don't have to, you know, look like Velma or this girl that has tape on her glasses. You can just be a regular looking woman, and you can do a job that can help you, you know, take care of your family.
Yep. I'm gonna
And
run
it's
that.
this way, right? And this is just, you know, this conversation on where I can just, you know, talk about things where we. It's some times where, you know, been transparent, talk about wins and losses, and just practicing all type of things. Just like you were talking about. I'm trying to think exactly what you just said. I don't know, but it's pretty much if I go back to like the video I made last night, kind of like I was just reviewing how this. Well, the funner part of the video I had was I was reviewing how this new phishing campaign is tricking users with a to download a CSV that then installs this backdoor on them. But even, you
Mhm.
know, doing stuff like that could be informational depending on whoever sees it, because we have to realize a lot of these people don't have jobs that actually get them security awareness training.
Yeah.
And so
Or if they
somebody can
do, or if
see.
they do, it's just is you know, so a quick little video. Remember, answer the questions. Congratulations, you're compliant for the next 6 months to a year.
Right, it's pretty much the same old thing, and that's how those companies get did. But even if I was to focus on like people that don't like, especially like old people, they, you know, that's what they pray after, especially with these campaigns. Or
Hmm.
the first part of my video was about FBI's warning people about companies posting fake job listings, acting like they're legit companies, taking their personal their PII and getting money from them, asking them to pay money to apply here, and all different types of stuff, because they feed on, you know, they use and that's why I think also people who come from a background of psychology will be good in cybersecurity as well, because they know how people think. And hackers like that tend to prey off of emotion and how you think. So they've been saying, "Cool, we know it's a pandemic. People
Yeah.
really want to work and make money. Let's prey on that."
Oh,
And
oh
that's how
yeah.
they've been getting people through, you know, junk mail and things of that
It,
nature.
emotions mixed. I'm gonna tell you from a pen testing or a hacking background, emotions or emotions mixed with a sense of urgency. Right.
Hmm.
So if I craft, if you notice the email is always crafted, oh, your antivirus expired and you have this many things, click here now. um when I used to do full on engagements and had to do phone social engineering, I used to pose as the angry IT guy. Right. So I used to pretend I would call, I would mask my number and make it look like it's coming from the same building. And I would call random people and go, what are you doing? Why are you using so much data? Or did it right? And I'm getting, oh, this is ridiculous. Wait, it says here that you're logged in two different places. You know what? I'm gonna send you this link, or you can, or give me your actual username and password so I can fix it. Or tell me what you, I have to change it right here on the fly to lock the other person out. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, because they're gonna do this. And oh my god, the managers are gonna. And now I have the person freaking out. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me right here, and I'm gonna put it right here in Active Directory. I'm gonna change your password for you right here. Okay, my password is gonna be this. And what was your old password?
Yeah, got
Got
it.
him. You know what I'm saying? Either that or the flip side to it. You know, click here if you want to know how to make money. Everybody, people are unemployed, people are underemployed, people are underpaid, people, you know
Right.
we live in a time where people are sensationalizing being your own boss and being independent and not having to work for anybody. And I'm not knocking that. My wife is self-employed, my wife runs her own business, right? So I'm never knocking that. But you have people who now want to do that for the wrong reasons, going back to what I was saying, even with the whole tech, with people in tech. So now the social media one, oh, click here, I'm going to teach you how to get, I'm going to put Bitcoin in your account. Click here, oh, what's your wallet information, oh, what's your Instagram
You
login,
just
you know what
want a
I'm
free
saying?
giveaway. I
Yeah, you right, right,
No,
you
I'm
know what I'm
saying I
saying?
just
So now
thought about it. If somebody go to my Instagram highlights, I have, and these people could possibly get other people if they're paying attention. It's
mm-hmm,
this thing called Legacy Hall out here in DFW, and their real
mm-hmm,
page posts this thing about doing a sweepstakes. And so I followed those directions just because I was up, whatever. So a fake page just like them decided to message me that morning, talking about I won the giveaway, please do this and that. What they didn't
Yeah.
know is I'm not a rookie. So I took that and I threw it in any run and seen all the crap that happened just to even click it about how people get
Hmm.
hacked and stuff like that on Instagram. But that let me know that it's people getting got because the fact that those people, the thing that I found out, number one, when I started finding out about people on the red team and stuff like that is the biggest advantage that hackers have against organizations is hackers have more time. And so they just have more time to peek back and say, we finna get something with this giveaway. We know that we're seeing who's sharing the stuff with these giveaways, and we're gonna get somebody to click on the link.
Yeah.
Because some people just the picture matches up with the real thing, so they didn't really pay attention that hey, grammar was messed up. Look at the link
Hmm.
they actually sent you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
go on that page, they don't have all the followers. Like it's the little things. But if you're in a rush and think you won, or you finna win $100 to eat, you know, they prey off like you said people's needs.
Yeah. They pray. Yeah. You like I said that and that sense of urgency. Act, but you got to act now. You got to hurry up.
It goes
Things are
away
moving quick.
in 24 hours.
Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, oh shoot, I gotta do this. I'm gonna get this money. You know. These are these are the things that they're doing. So now you talk about that. You have your channel, your podcast, your website, your consulting on the side, and now you also created a guide. And I have the link to the guide down here. Unfortunately, I don't think you guys can click the screen for the guide, so I'll put it in the chat. But talk about what drove you to create that guide. I think you touched on it already by saying you wanted to do things and help people get into it. But yeah, talk about that guide and flex a little bit about the results you've gotten from it because I've seen some of the comments.
Sure. So when I started this, the crazy thing is like the funnest part about starting this whole thing was like I don't come from like a background or a family of like just business minded people or whatever. Anyways, granted, I went to school. My school was in College Beach, so I had a good understanding of possibly what I need to do, and I worked for great organizations like a Target and then other companies I worked at. But I started saying, okay, cool, boom, let me get Calendar, let me start doing these consultations, and then so I started doing them, and then I started getting a lot, and I started seeing how many of the questions that I was getting asked were repetitive. So I was
Mhm.
like, I'm not gonna be able to scale this up because sometimes if it's a slower day, maybe I can do it while I'm working because I did all my work. But in the event I can't, then I can't help as many people that day or who wants to schedule. So I was like, let me come out with something that will be in a sense almost like 3, 4 calls with me. And let's make it super concise and actionable and provide examples of what you did to show people, you're not just making stuff up. And that's pretty much what I did. I forgot how many. I might have spent like 2, maybe 3 months on it. Just reformatting it, doing it over and over again. I felt like I was making an album. uh, had to get it copyrighted, but um, I did that because one, it kind of even it helped me better, helped me get better with some writing. But you know, there's a whole bunch of things I hear where, I never tell people they don't charge, they should charge. But I do know everybody's not in the same financial standing to afford the thing. So it's like this thing right here could be a springboard. I was like, even
Yeah.
if they don't want to book any other service with me, even if they don't want to get a resume with me. Because what I did combine this book with is like also get access to join my Slack space. I created a career roadmap for you to download and a job tracker sheet. I created
Hmm.
those things for people to get as well. So I saw like, even though it's $20, I think the value of the book is in, the hundreds, maybe close to 1,000 based on what I know now. So I was like, with that in mind, I said, I know this will be helpful for people. And I had a lot of people reach out to me and saying, thanks about the book. It's really helped them. You can see the comments that people left and the reviews that they left on the page. And that's really what it's about. The next thing will probably be to possibly take some of that content and switch it up a little bit into some courses to be like a little bit more self study. Because I know
Hmm.
eventually I probably won't be able to scale to coach as many people as I keep on getting. And I just want to always provide everybody with the best service I can without overextending myself. Because it's kind of what I'm kind of going through with a little bit now, between doing that and creating content. Because I really want to go all in and actually create even more content, because I actually
Right.
do enjoy it. Learn trying to master another uh, video editing software, even though it's been giving me a little problems. But all in all, the end goal is to help people. I'm going to keep track of how many people I helped this year. I helped a lot of people last year, surprisingly. And the whole thing about it was like, I knew I could help people. I just didn't know. I didn't even know what type of impact I'll have. And it's crazy. Like, I've had recruiters reach out to me and say, "Hey, just want to let you know I love your content." I've had applicants go follow you on YouTube and say, "Hey, watch his stuff, if you want to do better interviewing and things like that." So it's really more so for me about the impact. I've always said it, at the end of the day, I had never really been this to just get rich, because I could definitely, I've seen some outrageously priced services, and I think, fairly priced. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what kind of inspired me. I want to help more people to where, they could do something. Like, the book is a short read. I think it's like 50 pages or whatever, including with pictures and stuff like that. It's a short read. You can sit down and the one sitting and finish it and take notes, and then you could really be actionable within a week, and just start probably pointing out stuff that you may be doing wrong, or why you haven't been getting some of these callbacks, or not doing as good in your interviews, as you want to do.
No, no, that's great, and I think the added bonus, like you said, is having that, that job tracking list and all of that, because a lot of people can talk about how to get into tech. Even some people who talk about getting into tech and aren't even in it, but 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 you can, but with the added content that you create there, it's very helpful and actionable. And then, like I said, giving them the access to, like, your Slack or Discord or whatever, it also gives them a way to come in contact with you. So salute to you for that. And I said that because the next point I wanted to go into is a lot of people who create that information and give the wrong information or the BS, right? And then the good folks are getting accused of being scammers or whatever, while the people who are the ones giving the misinformation or the disinformation are the ones who are being touted as mentors and stuff like that. So actually, I'm not even going to ask that one, because what I want you to do is talk about, with all of that, um, with all of that, where does your passion for helping people come from, right? Where's the question? But yeah, go ahead and answer that while I do that.
I think I've always been like that as a person, and it's actually something I had to find balance in, to where even when wasn't tech related, I always was trying to help people, even though technically they may or may not ask me for help. I've always been like that helpful friend, or knew enough about almost everything. What they say, master of all things is better than a master of nothing. Along
Jack of
those
all
lines,
trades, master of none. Yeah.
uh, I've always been that person. I think it comes from. I was funny. It's different. Like, I started off as an only child, and I got three other siblings. And so even as a young child, I always was like share or be helpful and things like that. And I'm trying to see where that comes from. Like, you could probably trace it back to, like, I had some awesome grandmothers. They would like
Yep.
give you, share off their own back. I've always seen, even sometimes, like, a couple times when I was younger, riding around with my dad, he'd stop or help somebody in car trouble or something like that. So I
Mhm.
think a lot of those things play into me being, being helpful, being a listening ear, being active listening and trying to help you out. But it did come to a point where, like I said, I did have to dial it back and realize who needs the help, and who you can't help. So I
Can't
think I
can't
think
help
that's
them
what
all.
that comes in. Yeah, like, who wants it? I've did on said on many times about, like, my ideal clients and who I want to work with. If you, as long as you're coming, ready to work, I'm ready to work. As long
Yeah.
as you listen to me and don't always, it's good to question, but if I am, the professional superior, not like I'm better than anybody, but far as like what I've done in my career, if you're trying to model after me, just try to do what I say first, and then if it don't work, ask questions about that, because I don't. I only, I'm not a do as I say, not do as I
Not
do,
as I
whatever the
do.
phrase
Yeah.
is. I do both. So
Right.
everything that I mentioned that's in that book, if it was a role I was interested in now, if I want to say, oh, you know what, I want to go work at Microsoft or whatever, I would do the same steps that I
Mhm.
do now and reach out. And you'd probably see me saying, hey, I just interviewed with Microsoft or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why too. I think I do have a good rapport with people, and why I also got some other stuff coming up that I can't really talk about. People behind the scenes know about, like, why I think it'll work, because like, oh well, he never really talks about nothing he never did. Like, I'm probably like I'm probably like the Roy Jones of career coaches. Like Roy, when he rapped, he talked about stuff he did.
Hey, that's a flex though. Where are we at? No, we're gonna get. Oh, hold on. So Maddox just said he just bought your book.
Appreciate
So
that.
shout out to
Appreciate that.
Maddox, and then Kev Tech and Ty. Thank you for the super chat. Kev Tech says awesome stream, and Ty says thank you for your content. Now I appreciate you guys definitely. Um, so now you're working full time incident response manager in a field where there's incidents practically every day. You have your own company, you have your guide, you have a podcast, you blog, you're putting out content on a fairly regular basis. Where do you find the time? So go ahead and tell me what the day in the life what a day in the life is like for you.
If I could flip my camera, I would show you the whiteboard we have. Me and my woman, we have. We write every Sunday. I go to the whiteboard and I write down what I have to do, or what I plan to do when it comes to making content recording, or if I have to do some uh, coaching calls with my clients, or if I say, hey, I'm gonna need some extra time because I'm gonna be working on a resume, or I'm studying for a cert. It's kind of how I go. Like, she's a big help with that. Like right now, the girls are quiet. They must have got a bad for something, and they kind of sleep right now or something. And it's kind of how I somewhat find the time. Most of the time, uh, and the way I kind of motivate myself to do it is, a couple people I saw on Twitter the other day. Even though I'm not really on there, I'll tweet something through Buffer. I was up, sometimes up like two, three, sometimes four, and I'm either recording content or I'm working on some stuff. Because I know it eventually has an end goal. And yeah, and then I'll have to get up for like meetings the next day. Sometimes it's also due to the fact that I can't sleep. So it really depends. But I kind of just motivate myself, say, okay, I know I want where I want my channel to go. Am I gonna put the work in, despite, the lack of time I have, or am I just gonna complain? So that's kind of what I do. It's the reason why I kind of moved to the format I did now with like my podcast. I used to just ask and then make up the times, but now with the links, people just book, and like I'm sitting on content for like the next 2, almost 3 months,
Mm,
where I can release things like every, like, no lie, from me and you to like this week. I had a podcast episode I shot on Monday, shot one on Tuesday, shot one yesterday. I'm with you today, and I got one I'm shooting tomorrow. And then next week I have one I'm shooting on I think Monday, and then one on Tuesday.
yeah.
And so it's kind of like the scheduling. I think the biggest thing that helped me is to schedule it out. If I can schedule it out, then I can make time for it. If, like, a lot of times somebody might ask me if I want to do some Twitter wise, something like that day before or something like that, that's not gonna work for me. I need to let her know ahead of time so she could either do something with the kids or have them ready or whatever. I can't really just do stuff at the moment. Or if I do, that's one of the reasons why, like, I still have some more original content coming up, as far as like just content I want to make, as far as like some technical things, and talking about how I passed AZ 900 in 2 weeks.
Mm,
But it's one of the reasons why I went to like doing some reactions of like cybersecurity related or tech related content as well, because I don't necessarily have to script it out. I can just react and give, my expertise
your
on,
take.
what's going on in the video.
No,
And
that's
people
smart.
seem to like that, because they always, sometimes they send you videos, or what do you think about this, or you watch this person. And so they've been pretty good, especially when you go on keywords and people talking about certifications or something like that. So I kind of look for those headlighting titles sometimes to see if someone is capping in a video, and that way I could just talk about it.
And you know what, that's a real niche. That those videos are real in a real niche space that's not a lot of people are doing in our field. So kudos to you for seeing that because um yeah, I mean it could I can see where it could bring some heat in your direction, but at the same time, it's original. You know, seeing that and saying, okay, yeah, I agree or I disagree, and here's why. I mean, there's a lot of reaction videos for a lot of stuff out there. So why
Right.
we should have that. So that was actually smart on your end for, for doing that. So let's see, I'm gonna give you let's do the contra. There we go. So all right, so we're gonna wrap it up real soon. I see there's a couple
Oh,
questions.
and within that, I forgot to
Go
leave
ahead.
something. And sometimes within those days, I find some times to work out.
Well, listen. So I was gonna say I was actually gonna touch on that. You know, make sure you find time for yourself and for your family and your loved ones because those are the ones who get affected the most. You know what I'm saying? Your health and your family.
Yeah,
You know, from work.
definitely.
Work. Trust me, I was for years. I was burning that midnight oil, and like I said, I paid a dear price for it. So you definitely want to make sure you do that and take care of yourself.
Oh,
But I
definitely.
hear you,
Self care
man. Like I
days
said,
are a must. I get massages on a regular. I go get pedicures.
you
You
have to,
know,
you
you,
have to,
you
man.
name it.
Yeah,
I go take
because
like every 6 months. Like I do like a mental health break where I like go get a hotel and stay a couple of days. Where I'm just doing absolutely nothing to clear my mind and just not be busy.
yep. No, like I said, you got to, you got to. Like I said, I'm actually trying to find some time now, doing that double duty between this show, working full time, the blog, creating more content, and then now I
Right.
also am hosting, hosting the other, the Hacker Valley Blue show. So I'm creating
Yeah.
content for that. Like I said, I think the good thing is, what's good and bad is that it's not live. So I can pre-record a lot of stuff and then just send that off. So like I'm gonna schedule out like a week or two, and I'm just gonna blitz through all the episodes I need to fulfill those obligations.
Yeah.
But
You should get Eric on there.
who Bellardo?
The sock coach, Eric Thomas.
Oh, Eric Thomas. I gotta get his information. All right,
Yeah.
so we're gonna wrap it up before real quick. But so if there were three things, someone walked up to you right now and gave like an elevator pitch. So you walk into an elevator, someone walks in, and you have the length of the elevator ride to give them three tips to get into tech. What would they be?
3 tips. I say research job skills first before going a cert route. Then after that, number two would be execute on those skills. So actually take the time out to learn those skills. All the ways you can would probably open source ways, which would be anything from making a virtual home lab, or making you a home lab in the cloud. And the third thing I probably would put would be actually to, I'm trying to think, because a lot of people think I would say certs, but I wouldn't necessarily say certs. I say network. I say networking would be the third one to do. Like if you got those skills and you worked on them and you did these projects, network your skills and then network with people who are in positions you want to be in, and if they see value in you, eventually that can help you get a job over having a security plus, a network plus, CCNA or whatever. All those things don't really mean much if you can't do nothing when they sit you in front of a machine.
Right. No, I agree. I would say get this, develop the skills, because once you develop the skills, you got to circle back and get the certs at some point. But if you could develop the skills and
Yeah.
develop the skills for free, yeah, build a lab out, develop those skills. Then when you get your money right, if money's an issue, then go ahead and go get those certs. Now, all right. So next question: what are your goals for 2022?
Oh man, I don't know what my notebook is. I said a lot. I forgot how many people I want to help get into a cybersecurity role, even if it's not cybersecurity, just a different role out of the role you're in. I want to help probably. I would say at least want to help 50 people.
Hmm. Okay.
Aim for the moon. If I miss, I can still be with the stars.
Yep. Absolutely.
Then what else I want to? I want to get some brand deals. I want to take my podcast to the next level with that. I want to get to 15. No, I want to get 20,000 subs. So that way I can do the same thing with that. Also, for professional development, I also have put that I'm possibly going to choose a security engineer track for the Microsoft their Azure cert. So I'll probably be documenting that journey. I've already knocked out one this month. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do one a month because some of them will require me to study a little bit more. I was only able to do the AZ 900 so fast because the material overlaps with the AWS Cloud Practitioner in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
I want to get this. I'm probably gonna try to get that covered at CSSP maybe the end part of the year. Also,
that's
I want to do some
that's going to be a
ServiceNow
grind.
training. Right, I'm gonna do some ServiceNow training for their pretty much their security part that they have just for ServiceNow,
Yeah.
and I think um, that's most of them. Brand deals, I'm already monetized. Just keep on putting out better content, getting better at this craft. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of crap. I can keep on going on and on.
I was about to say
I have it written down.
you definitely aiming for the moon. You definitely aiming for the moon, man. Because I was like, damn, he's still going.
Yeah, man. I mean, because it's funny. That's the reason why I said, hey, if I'm talking about my goals, am I going to really put the work in to get them? Uh, like eventually, I plan to probably live stream a little more once I get everything situated. Like I would love to have like a morning live stream before work or whatever, where I'm doing kind of almost similar to what I did in my latest video, where I just took some of those articles and talked about them, or I
Mhm.
found some, and I'm not on there now, but if I want to talk about like some nonsense on Twitter, in InfoSec Twitter or something like that, and talk about that, because that's kind of how you can double your minutes and everything with YouTube. It's like going live all the time. That's how you can get a lot of subs. Probably do some more collaborations. And definitely, you know, definitely want to do one with Kev Tech. Definitely, I think that's the one that people have been asking for. So
Oh yeah, I know. I gotta. I'm trying to carve out the schedule for him too, man. Kev, you in high demand, sir.
yeah, man, he's a when I started, Kev Tech might have been at like 2003. I can't even remember when I started because I remember I commented on one of his videos from like a year and a half ago. And then you
Mhm.
look up and look at all his subs, man. I was like, he deserves it because he gives out, if like he gives out I would say like something I use cyber a lot. So I'll say he gives out like cyber level game like for nothing, for
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
everyone.
Now,
You know, and
Kev is Kev is like Professor Messer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
so but shout out to Kev. Like I said, I got to get him on the show when I come back from this stretch. So final question. If you've seen the show, you know it. What is your why?
Man, my why is to help, honestly, to help protect people's data, people's information, to help with people and help improve my livelihood for my family, change that for generations to come. But also, I want to have a legacy. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that guy was very helpful to us when he was on this earth.
Hmm.
He helped a lot of people. He's selfless, because there's a lot of stuff I do sometimes that technically I could just, if somebody messaged me, I could just say, oh, well, here, boom, do the consultation. But sometimes I technically can give people some consultation just through DM sometimes without them possibly even
Yeah,
knowing it, just because I don't really have time to waste time. So if you don't even really know what you want to call me for, it really ain't gonna do you any justice. You're gonna feel like you waste $65. But I think that's definitely my why.
yeah. And that's hold on, I'm gonna give you an applause for that one. And but that's dope, man. And sometimes, I mean, yeah, you should definitely, monetize your time. You definitely should. But sometimes, that stuff goes a long way. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, and I'm like, yeah, a couple people I know have my number, right? That can reach out to me and pick my brain, or just talk. We have random conversation, and they're like, "What? You bugging? You need to get them on the calendar and do this, and they need to you need to charge for that." And I'm like, "For what?" Sometimes it's just words of encouragement. I'm not going to charge nobody for words of encouragement, or if it's something that's a quick 5-10 minute call. Now, if you're asking me to sit down and chart your career path, Yeah, nah, that's different. That's different. But I'm not gonna like you can't you can't monetize everything, right? And again, that I
Right.
think that's the misconception. Everybody's racing to just do this and do that they're forgetting how to be decent human beings. Like I'm not gonna tell somebody, oh, nah, if you want to talk to me and just ask me a question or even have a personal conversation, you know, if I give you the number, then I'm gonna give you the number. But I'm not gonna just sit there and tell you, oh, that's gonna cost you. Like a lawyer, right? You call a lawyer right now, they're like, I'm on the clock. So that like I said, appreciate your answer and your honesty. So while I go through the questions find the questions real quick, tell the people how to find you.
Oh man, you can find me at Textual Chatter on YouTube, on my Twitter, at Textual Consulting on Instagram, as well as the Textual Talk Pod on Instagram. And also will be showing this new thing that I found. It's pretty cool. I'll probably share it with you. It's called Pod Page, and they can make you a whole podcast page. And I'll be sharing that way. You can just see all the different places my podcast is hosted, where you can listen to it at uh,
Yeah,
as well. But that's where you can find me. Oh, and then also on my website, textualconsulting.com, TECHUAL consulting.com.
yeah.
And
No,
yeah,
I actually
you
I'm
should reach.
that's the next phase for me is I'm actually going to put out all my episodes, all my back catalog out in audio. Because right now it's only video.
Yeah,
So
because
all
some
right,
people
so
can't really watch, so that's the reason why I kind of I do it.
right, right. So all right, so let's get into the comments and the Q&A real quick, and then we're gonna call it. Let's see, where are we? KevTech said skills are important, but they can be taught. As you move into the leadership roles, you need people skills. No, absolutely. You definitely need the people skills. Derek says, first time catching a live video. Keep it up. Good content. Can you share your views on having your CV crafted for the job you're applying as opposed to a general CV? Um,
Sure.
yeah, go ahead. Give your take on that.
I instruct people to tailor, if it's especially if it's a job you really want, tailor it to that position. One, it's going to show the recruiters you are very interested in, because they're going to notice that you tailored it to that, and it's going to help you stand out a little bit amongst just having some generic resume that's not really speaking to some of the job titles and the job duties that you'll be doing, and also some of that culture language of the company that they have in that requisition. You can throw that in there too. I do that. That's one of the reasons why when I do resumes, I say, hey, send me 2 to 3 jobs you're interested in, so I could craft it for them. And then they can kind of have something to base it off of, so they can craft their own in the future.
No, that's smart. Derek, thank you for your question. Tish Talks Tech says, what is more important to you, company culture or pay grade job title? A little bit of both for me. For me, I'm at a point in my career now where work life balance is important. I do ask about the diversity of the team. I do, and I am worried about the pay grade. Job title, not
Yeah,
so
not so much.
much.
I don't really care about my
Not so
title
much.
as long
Like
as my pay
if
right.
yeah, if you're wanting to move up the career ladder, and let's say you want to be a CISO one day, I think that's when the job title it really means something. But for me, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to be anybody's CISO. If I want to be a CISO, I want to be a CISO of Alpha Cybersecurity. So that's where my focus is as far as moving up with the career ladder. For me, it's job culture and definitely job culture, work life balance, and the pay. So
Yeah. I mean, same here. More so culture is more important to me. But at the same time, I need to make sure I can pay my bills. So if you can pay your
yeah,
bills and good culture, I say you got to win, because you will occasionally run into some horrible cultures where you got to just stick it out just because you got some bills. But eventually, you'll get better. My last company, very wonderful, progressive culture. For the most part, on my contract, I've heard other things from other people, but for me, my experience was pleasant.
yep. Dante White says chasing the bag segment coming soon. Working on it, Dante. Working on it. Like I said, I definitely want Henri in that conversation about doing it and doing it the right way. But I want to have a panel discussion about that. Ty Wilson says, "Work so you don't have to introduce yourself." No, absolutely. You walk
Facts.
into a room and they already know who you are. That's a cheat code. So we have infinite improbability says, "Do you think at some point hard skills like tech and IT become less important and soft skills like people and management become more important?" I'm gonna let you answer that one first.
I think actually soft skills have always been important. Sure, you want to care about the hard skills, but if you I'm, I had a brain fart. If you could be adaptable and be coachable and learn how to do the stuff, that's fine. But I like to tell people, I've said this on other podcasts, like you're a person first. You're going to be with those people sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours a day.
Yep.
That needs to be a better fit over all that other stuff. Because if you can do everything, but you're horrible to work with, it doesn't matter. So yes, soft skills are also a lot of the times, depending on what you want to do in your career or what take you to the next level over someone that's super technical.
I agree 100%. So I feel like you have to have strong technical skills and strong communication skills in the beginning. Like I said before, as you correct progress in your career, going back to the job title thing, if you want to move into upper management, director, C-level executive, and stuff like that, you're definitely going to need to have really good communication skills, because now you need to be able to delegate, you need to be able to explain situations and do things like that. So they're both equally important, especially just starting out, and as you progress you want to make sure you really improve on your communication skills. So let's
Right.
see here. Kev Tech says soft skills are important, you need to know how to break it down into not. Okay, so I think we talked about that. I saw a question from Parker. So Parker originally says, "It's surprising to see what the market rises up to when you've been in a role for a while." No, absolutely. I tell people all
Facts.
the time, 3 to 6 months, 3 to 6 months, go dip your toe in the water. Even if you're happy, dip your toe in the water, and see what's going on. Dante says the looks on recruiters' faces when you turn on a position because you know your worth. Oh no, absolutely. I tell people all the time about the job that offered me an assistant director role, um, but they wanted me to give up all my content. And when I turned them down, they were like, "Well, we're offering you a lot of money," and I was like, "That's fine."
So what's gonna happen when y'all get tired of me?
Right. You want me to give up my content, and then they turned around and they showed their hand. Oh, well, if you're really passionate about giving content, then maybe you work with our
You can make something for us.
marketing team. Yeah, make stuff for us and work with our marketing team. And I said, well, who would own that? They were like, well, obviously it would be us, because you're not allowed to give create content on the outside anymore. Even though when I interviewed, I told them that this is what I do, and they said, "Oh, that's not a problem as long as you're not doing anything that's a conflict of interest to what you would be doing here."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "All right, cool." It wasn't until
I
I
haven't
gave
had
them
that convo yet.
yeah, it wasn't until I gave them. So I have a letter that I call basically my job prenup, that basically says what I come in here with is mine, and when I leave here, it's also mine.
It's mine.
So my blog, my show, my YouTube channel, my social media stuff, all of that is mine. If you want me to do something partnered with you, then you're not talking to Davin the employee, you're talking to Davin from Alpha Cybersecurity. If you want me to create a blog post for you, then I will then I'm doing that on your time. If you want me to do it on my spare time, then now you're contracting out to Alpha Cybersecurity
Mhm.
for it. But this is mine. Understand that's where I draw the line. Like when I did my Sands talk, I remember my job was like, "Oh, you should have did that for us," or that'll be great publicity for us. I said, "Who's us? You see that wolf? You see
Mhm.
you see that wolf? That wolf was on every slide, not the company." So Parker asks, "What's a big mistake you've seen a lot of people make when it comes to interviewing or writing a resume?"
Um, when it comes to interviewing, most of the time it's something like they aren't probably not confident enough, or have too many things on there. their resume they can't speak about. And other issues I've seen on resumes is the fact that they aren't selling themselves the best,
Yeah,
meaning they have skills, but they just aren't listed. I could pull it out of you when I talk to you because I'm kind of familiar with a lot of different roles. But if that's not present, it's a reason why they aren't calling you back for the most
yeah.
part.
Um, Upsell yourself. Don't lie on your resume. Right. So the things that you are great, the things that you're good at, put it out there that you're great at. The stuff that you don't know about or you're weak, do not say that you're good at it because they
Facts.
will call. They'll see you, right. They'll see you coming. So let's see. Jeremy says for a new SOC analyst, do you learn both roles as a red team and blue team?
Shout out to Jeremy. It depends on the organization because they can technically put you through some training. For the most part, a lot of your stuff will be blue, but I will say it benefits you to know the other side of red team so you can understand how they try to gain access and how to defend against that. What was recently recommended to me for everyone who's going to possibly be a SOC analyst or eventually get there is to do. Shout out to my guy Dayspring. Dayspring just completed their blue team level
Yes.
one. He
Yes.
said it was a
Gold
beast,
coin.
right? And he said, that's what he would recommend for every new person like that. Like I'll probably recommend blue team level one, CYSA plus, along with I did his training. It was pretty cool. I did it. That was probably one of the best trainings I did when I first started at Opta in 2018. They had the analyst mindset training by Chris Sanders, and that was
Mm,
pretty good.
okay. Okay. So let's see here. Uh
Oh,
Derek
and get
says
some cover six training too.
Oh, I was going to plug that one in a second. Derek says, thanks for responding. Currently working in IT position in the Caribbean, so it's always good to hear a viewpoint from others. No, absolutely. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Hope you liked it, and subscribe to the channel, and also check out Henri's channel, Textual Chatter. And then Ty says, "You see the wolf? No, absolutely, man. If when I do a talk, I nah, everything I do outside of work is Alpha Cybersecurity and strictly Alpha Cybersecurity. But yeah, go check out Ty's Cover Six Solutions, their SOC analyst prep course. Go check that out. They're you know I don't Ty, you're in here. When's the next class? Plug the next class.
I think
Uh,
it's one. I forgot when it is, but I know Eric does a lot with that course. And recently, I had, and this is why you need to join my Slack space, guys. Recently, I did a giveaway for that specific Cover Six training in my Slack space. Just did a random drawing. I just had everybody tell me why they wanted to be a SOC analyst and put their names in a little spinner and spent it. And the person that took it said she enjoyed it and she's definitely, even more inspired to be a SOC analyst. So that told me all I need to know. And so if you guys want to get some good training from actual knowledgeable people in the field, there's definitely good training to
yes.
get.
Absolutely. So Tran Brooks, shout out to Tran Brooks, friend of the show, former guest, says I tuned in late, but this has been a great talk as usual, and I appreciate it. Um, Ty says some employers condemn you for not moving up, like an issue with you, personal experience. Um, condemn you for not moving up. Um, yeah, if you're not doing certain things to elevate yourself, I mean, for like my where I work currently, professional development is literally in my plan for any type of raise or promotion or anything like that. I have to show any professional development that I'm working on. But I love to take classes, so I wish they would tell me, you know what, here go take a week off and go take some classes. Psst, shoot. Let's see. Trenton says that's a smart agreement to have. No, you got to. If you're passionate about your content and what you're putting out, and this is what you're doing is, you know, make is yours because they're gonna see value in it before you do. Like I said early early last year, I started noticing people were offering me some crazy numbers to come work for them, but they kept throwing in my content as a part of the deal, and it was like, right? And I think I talked about it on the show. I think I talked to Ty and shout out to Mary Galloway, and Mary Galloway said, "Why do you think that is?" She was like, "Clearly, they see the value in it before you do, so um, you got to." You got to definitely own your stuff, and don't worry about who's paying attention or how many people are paying attention at first. Just keep working on it and working on it, because eventually you're gonna catch the attention of the right person, and it's gonna build, and it's gonna bring you into other things. And I mean, I'm speaking from personal experiences. I never would have imagined that I'm also hosting a show for Hacker Valley Studios, and I did it
Right.
because of this show that I I average 20 people maybe watching. So keep at it.
Right. And a quote I
Uh,
learned from the Rick Ross, he was like, "The container with the most weight always moves the slowest." So you just remember
mm,
that. Focus on quality of the content. You're good.
there you go. So KevTech says, what drives me nuts on a resume is when someone rates themselves and their skills on the resume. Don't grade yourself. Yeah, I always had a problem with who does that? Dice. I think Dice does that on their platform, or they used to. I don't know. I haven't actually used a job website in a while. But Dice used to be like, five, do you do you give yourself 5 stars or whatever? Um, Going back to the SOC analyst course from Cover Six, Ty Wilson said the next one is April 5th, and then Maddox already said it is a great course. So so there it is. A bunch of people co-signed it. So with that being said, we're gonna actually call it. So ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, this has been another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. We actually went over because I was trying to keep it on a reasonable time, but we were, we were having such a great conversation. But I want to thank my guest Henri Davis for joining. So thank you, sir. Been a it's been a pleasure. Make sure you guys tune in next week, because I am having another great guest. I am having founder and CEO of Bite Check, AJ Yawn, on the show. So
Shout out to AJ.
make sure you go check him out. He's also a host for Hacker Valley. He does the show Comply or Not to Comply. So make sure you guys go check that out. And I will see you guys next week. So, Henri, appreciate it, sir. Anytime you want me to come back on the show or whatever, anything you need me to help support, I got you, sir. Um, and to the chat, to the pack, I love y'all. Thanks for rocking with me for another almost 2 hours. And again, make sure you guys tune in next week. If you haven't done so already, please like the video, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch. If you want to support, you can buy me a coffee or do a super chat. Same thing with Textual Chatter. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all next week, and y'all be safe out there, and just avoid all the negative nonsense. All right, peace.
All right.